and this one's all about Monaco private banking, right? So really, really interesting. Now, recently, especially since the Iranian-UAE war, we've had a lot of inquiries about Hong Kong, Singapore, Monaco, Switzerland, even Panama private banking. Okay, there's been a few problems with UAE banking. I don't want to go into that in this video. But again, people are looking to diversify their wealth around the world. Okay, and the question is why Monaco? We've all heard about from Monaco. And again, it's basically 2 square kilometers. If you don't know it, it's the highest millionaire density on planet Earth. Okay, it's got 0 personal income tax, really, really good. You can actually get residence for 500,000 bank deposit. And it's basically one of the most exclusive banking sectors in the world. I've just spent the past 5 weeks in meetings, probably 3 out of the 5 working days a week, onto private banks in Monaco, onboarding clients over there. Yes, I do fintech myself. Yes, I do this, but sometimes you have to put the client's interests first, and therefore that's why I'm speaking about Monaco today. Okay, so it's essentially what private banking should be, and it is a fantastic system over there. Again, today we're going to go over who it's actually for, the actual minimums, some of the types of banks you can be onboarding with. I've recorded videos before on Switzerland private banking, touched on Liechtenstein, okay, and then we're going to actually look at how the process works and why right now is a critical moment to actually understand this, right? And something almost nobody is even covering is where the UAE money's actually flying to, where those capital flights are going to, and why Monaco is actually becoming one of the top destinations, okay? So when we actually get into it, first of all, we need to look at who it's actually for, who is the clientele for this, okay? So again, it's not a normal banking jurisdiction, number one, okay? There's no high street banks, no retail current accounts. It's not like that. It's a banking ecosystem that's been there for over 100 years. As you can probably imagine, it's more about wealth management, portfolio custody, as well as, Lombard lending, estate planning, yacht finance. There's 25 banks, right, active in those 2 square kilometers and managing around 170 billion of assets under management. That is on their websites, okay? So almost all subsidiaries are French, Swiss, and Italian banking partners and groups. The largest is actually Barclays, with 27% of all the assets. Okay, the CMB, Monaco, UBS, CFM as well as Julius Baer, the Rothschilds, Pichet as well. Okay, again, it contributes banking revenues from that contribute to over 18% of the GDP of Monaco. So very important for the establishment to continue over in Monaco, right? It's very important to our economy. And again, Dubai's private banking infrastructure has been cracking, to say the least. Accounts have been frozen. Banks are actually closing their offices there. And compliance has also been getting brutal even before the war, right? So serious money has always been actively leaving the UAE. Yes, there's always new money coming into it. Speaking to a client today, he would still like to move there, right? But at the end of the day, once you generate enough returns over in the UAE from being personal income tax free, for example, people actually like to diversify their funds around the world, okay? So it's one of the top 4 destinations for capital. And again, that's Singapore, Hong Kong, Switzerland, Monaco, okay? So let's actually think, who is this for? So there's a few different profiles I'm going to describe them as, right? Number 1 is Monaco residents, okay? Monaco residents is number 1. Again, you can get that by a 500k deposit and obviously getting a flat over there as well. Number 2 is international high net worth individuals, or should I say ultra high net worth individuals as well. There's more specialized branches, more specialized banks for those particular distinguishment between those 2 categories of people. And finally, UAE-based clients, right? Whose existing banking relationships have basically broken down and they would like to look at the diversification. But please be honest with yourself, this is generally for people with more than 1 million, deposits are generally acceptable. Go over this. Yes, there are a few smaller ones, especially in Singapore, Hong Kong, 400 or 500k, but generally, typically speaking, private banking does require that 7-figure mark of an initial deposit. So it's not really being snobby or anything like that. It's just how these institutions are structured, and that's what's key here at the end of the day. So for residency, the actual minimum right here on this slide, the minimums, the residency is actually 500k. okay? So it's 500k and it's pretty easy to get. It takes a little time, there's a little bit of bureaucracy, some background checks, obviously, but that's the floor, not the expectation. Banks want 1 million plus, okay? For non-residents, sometimes we can see 2 to 3 million is a general standard. For high-risk structures, you're looking at 3 to 5 million, right? Okay. And Mrs. Julius Baer, UBS, Peugeot as well, and again, broadly known for the range of products that they can offer to non-residents. I also work with EFG there, really, really good bank. I was having a meeting with them over in Hong Kong, and I work with Kevin over in the Monaco branch as well. But money is not only the bar. Again, legit documents, source of wealth, business records, tax records, bank references, and again, high-risk industries. If there's an unclear origin of force and you cannot be actually proving the source of funds, right? Then you're just not going to be onboarded, as with any financial infrastructure in the world. Now, something we do want to touch on as well is actually the process. So the process is pretty simple. To speak about a process, right? It's different between every single bank, but generally how it goes is there's an introduction from a trusted partner for someone like myself, for example. And it's never really a cold approach. It doesn't really work like that. It actually comes with an existing client, a wealth advisor or service provider. Typically, that's how we see private banking introductions actually happen. And that essentially, we set the context for you, right? Then we actually arrange an initial meeting, sort all the documents for you, do the compliance review, and then moving on to the deposit and the onboarding. Again, the transfer, the min deposit, and that's when the relationship actually starts between you and the private bank. Now, something which we have to mention, it's not all pros and positives, right? It is on the grey list since for 2024 due to the FATF, whatever you call it, FATFA. Again, it's basically they had a problem with the insufficient process on AML and counter-terrorism financing. Specifically, weakness is in an investigation that's still ongoing over there, prosecution and sanctions enforcement. And again, they do actually onboard Russians, typically speaking, but as long as they have a European passport or a European residence permit, right? So that's very important. So if you are Russian living in Dubai, for example, it's not really one for you. But if you do have a Malta permit or a Spanish ID or something, then potentially you can get that bank account as well. So what it means practically is every bank globally now must really, really do enhanced due diligence on Monaco transactions. There's a lot more checks, a lot more questions, a lot slower wire processing. Okay, so it's not a transactional bank. It's more of an investment bank. Okay, but the banks have not collapsed. Assets have gone and hit a record high, and again, institutions are still sound. It's friction. It's not a crisis. Okay, guys. So 39 out of the 40 recommendations have now been met. For the FATFA, and the target date to exit is mid-2026. Top of my head, I was reading online the other day, and my personal verdict is compliance headaches. It's not an external threat as such. They're working with compliance, right? Just ticking those boxes. And again, if you have flexibility on timing, then obviously wait for that grey list to actually exit. So maybe this time in 3-4 months would be a great time to then come into that situation. If you're not flexible on time, you can still be onboarded at the moment. Again, if you're already actual Monaco resident or would like to be one, again, we can help with that. We do help people move around the world, set up corporate structures, banking, fintech solutions, whatever. You can check out our website and apply to become a client down below. But again, there are some great alternatives, right? So if I go back on here, there are some great alternatives around the world, and that is what is really, really nice. Again, you don't just have to have one private bank, you can have multiple, in multiple, even different jurisdictions, in multiple different continents. And that is what high net worth individuals typically tend to do. If you're not one of them, then this is how you would essentially plan your future, right? So we've got Hong Kong, Singapore, Switzerland, Monaco, the UAE, but a little bit of friction there right now, right? But Monaco is really an ego play. It's a large status and it is a lifestyle play. Switzerland, Singapore, Hong Kong, on pure merit, often win, right? So they are the clear winners of private banking, especially Switzerland, to be honest. And currently Singapore's really, really winning the actual race as well. So at the end of the day, it really depends on what you're looking for. If you're even looking for a residence permit, it could be a great way to get into Monaco to actually become a resident. And that is my verdict. If you would like to diversify away from British banks, UAE banks, it could be a good option. It depends how much funds you've got. If you're just sitting on 2 to 3 million, you would probably more look at banks in, let's say, Hong Kong, Singapore, Switzerland before Monaco. But if you're sat on over 30, 40, 50 million worth of investments and you would like to access the Monaco banking products as well, it could be a fantastic choice. So a pretty short video here today, but I just thought that'd be a great option to put out there for you guys if you are in the UAE. In particular, we've seen so many clients come across and say, hey, do we have any other private banks you can connect me with? And Monaco is obviously a favorite choice, and then they can go for a residency route as well, and a residency by investment, which is pretty simple. A few things to do, but over and out, guys. That's over and out. And again, please leave me any more recommendations. I saw a comment the other day on about Singapore banking. I did touch on this in another video, but I will make a separate video just for this one, for this person on YouTube here. But over and out, guys, over and out, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio. Bye-bye.